Hi, welcome to Future Tech series from Real Learning Center. Today we are going to cover the topic of artificial intelligence. I'm going to cover mainly 3 points. One, what is artificial intelligence? Two, what are the opportunities if one pursues the area of artificial intelligence? Three, which colleges to study in India if you want to actually pursue the area of artificial intelligence, AI, what we call. So let's start with what is artificial intelligence. Let us look at this uh, animal or an organism. It's just an amoeba. Okay, amoeba, is it intelligent? That's a question. Okay, it's a living organism. Is it intelligent? So let's say if I'm going to basically take a very hot needle near to the amoeba. Okay, what would happen if you take a hot needle near to the amoeba? Amoeba will actually sense it and it will move. So can you call this intelligent? It sensed something and it took an action based on that and it moved. Is it intelligence? That's a question. Okay, it's a kind of intelligence, isn't it? Secondly, the question is it learning anything? Okay, where from when does it know that if we take something hard near that, it has to move? So did it learn in its childhood? So that is a question that we have to ask. Okay, there are two questions we are asking here. Is this intelligent? Is it learning? I mean, we can ask this question not just for amoeba. Let's take an iron box. Okay, iron box. If you see, when it actually reaches the higher temperature, it cuts off. The light goes away. Okay, that means that it detects that the temperature has reached beyond a certain limit, and it switches off. So, is this intelligent? So, whenever the temperature goes down below that, it again switches it on. So, is it intelligence? It's no different from what amoeba did, if you think about it. It just sensed something, the temperature, and then it moved. Here it sensed and switched it off. And second question again we can ask: is it learning? Can it learn from the previous mistakes or previous experiences? So we really know that this is some kind of intelligence, but definitely it is not learning. Neither amoeba nor iron box is learning. Okay, let's just look at another scenario. Fish. What about fish? Do they learn? Are they intelligent? They are intelligent, more intelligent than amoeba, because they process information on where the uh, food is and how to go, where the threat is, how to escape, everything. And not just that, you can actually train them. So you can train a fish with some. So it's not as easy to train like a dog, but fish can also be trained. You can actually put one finger on it and make fish follow that finger. With some training, we can do some fishes. So we can say the fish is more intelligent than amoeba and iron box, and at the same time, it can also learn. A fish which is uh, very young and fish which is old has certain difference. So, I mean, old fish know more than the young ones, so they are learning through the process. But old amoeba may not know more than an young amoeba, so it's not learning. Okay, so now let's look at calculator. Okay, can the calculator do? Is it intelligent? I mean, you can see that calculator does more math than you, and it can do it very fast. So, is it intelligent? So, we can ask that question for a calculator. It's definitely more intelligent than, for example, an iron box. Okay, we know that. And can it learn? Here we know that a calculator which I used during my engineering, okay, is today old calculator, but it hasn't learned anything. It's as intelligent as it was, and nothing more, nothing less. So it's not learning. So there is no learning in it. So calculator is somewhat intelligent, but there is no learning in what. So let's just look at another very huge machine. Okay, this machine is actually called as Deep Blue. IBM created this in 1997. It defeated the world champion, Grandmaster Gary Kasparov. Okay, so and this is a machine defeating a human being, that to a world champion in chess. So is this intelligent? Of course, it is intelligent, isn't it? It's more intelligent than, for example, the calculator, of course, because it is actually taking inputs continuously and thinking all the alternatives and making uh, basically moves. But again, you can ask a question: can it learn? So this is an important question. So Deep Blue was not actually learning anything. Like, just because it has played with Kasparov a few times, did it become more intelligent or more? Does it know more about chess? No. So Deep Blue was almost very intelligent, but it is not learning at all. So now the question basically comes is, what is this artificial intelligence? So which one is intelligent? And what do we call artificial intelligence? So let's just look at modern computers. Most of the modern computers basically uh, are considered to be higher intelligence machines than all the other mechanical machines and electrical machines and all that. All the machines have some intelligence, but modern computers are considered to be the most intelligent ones. So we can take modern computers and add to it learning ability. Once you make it, you can make it somewhat like us. So we are intelligent, and at the same time we can learn. So we can make modern computers are very near to that possibility. Okay. But though it's very far away from the real possibility, but it is very near when compared to other machines. So now we'll ask a question: what is artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence generally, to a great extent, uh, is attributed to what we call rule-based processing. Okay, you basically get some input, and that input is processed based on certain rule that you have coded. So that's a program that you have written. So if this input is there, I will do this. If this input is there, I will do this. If this input comes after this input, I will do this. Like that, there are lots of rules that you code inside the rule-based machines. These are programming. That's called programming. And these machines are nothing but computers. And it will give out the output. Okay, this is basic central part of the intelligence. But it still is not learning. It is still only about uh, rule-based output. Now, it is still intelligent. It is more intelligent than iron box. Okay. Now let's go to the what else you do it to make it somewhat like us. Okay. What is the learnability attached? So what we are going to do is take some feedback from the output, and using that feedback, can you change the rules that you have coded? So if you can tweak the rules, then every time it does some work, it takes the feedback. See, so please understand this feedback, when I talk about, is a little different from the feedback you need for doing some work. For example, when a robot has to walk, it has to take a feedback of what kind of a it moves in some distance, and it sees there is an obstacle, and get the obstacle data, and then accordingly maneuver. So that is a kind of feedback. I'm not talking about that kind of feedback. I'm talking about a different kind of feedback. So like how we take, whenever we do something, we ask a question: did I do it right? Was it right? Or was there anything wrong? So take that feedback. So whenever you did something right, you know that your rules are good. Current rules are good. And whenever you know this part has been done not so well, so you need to tweak that part of the rules. Okay. That game, you have to put it inside a machine. It's not that easy. It is hard. So because you don't know, see, change the rules, what does it mean? Does it mean arbitrarily change the rules? Or change the rules based on certain meta rules? It is possible that there may be some higher level rules which are used to change the rules itself. So the games gets complicated like that. Okay. So then artificial intelligence starts building. So this is what we call artificial intelligence. Now what are the ingredients of an artificial intelligence? If we talk about, the first one is, it is nothing but a rule based system. A lot of rules are there. Okay. And accordingly you have to act based on the rules. Complex. Second one is, it has to basically take various kinds of inputs, in the sense that input is not always a keyboard input. It has to take input from speech. Somebody is talking, can you understand it? It has to take input from vision, like there are cameras which has to detect the things moving around. Can it actually decipher something from that? So, so language, somebody speaking, you have to understand the language. So these are all different kinds of inputs. If a machine can take, it gets to become more and more intelligent. So that is another character of artificial intelligence. And thirdly, ability to basically take feedback. So it has to take feedback. There must be a way to take feedback, not just the feedback from the point of view of the materials around, but also to take feedback from other intelligent people around. Okay, so it could be intelligent machines around, or it could be intelligent people around. Take feedback and find out whether it is doing the right thing, and also find out what others do when facing the same situation. Can it adopt the same situation? Can it adopt the same strategy? So these are the things an artificial intelligence machine will have to do. And finally, an ability to tweak the rules. How do you tweak the rules? It can't be arbitrary. You have to build in that kind of a logic. So all this put together is what we call really an artificial intelligence. Okay, so it's artificial because it is not us. We are natural. Okay. So artificial intelligence. Now the question basically is, so what are the kinds of AI? Where have we reached in artificial intelligence? So we saw that first one basically was what we call reactive machines. So they are like, even the Deep Blue, IBM Deep Blue is a reactive machine. Means some date Kasparov plays something and he gives the data to the machine saying that I moved rook from here to here, like that. So the machine now starts processing based on the rules inside, and it will give out the outcome. So they are called reactive machines. The second level we call limited memory machines. Limited memory machines are like Google driving cars, self-driving cars. So they actually have memory of what they did yesterday. Okay. And they also have an understanding of whenever another set of drivers driving and what are they doing. It can take and store it and emulate it. So these are all the limited memory machines. Okay. So these are almost where we are at this today. We are working with limited memory machines. And then the next step is what we call theory of mind. So this is what we do as human beings. Whenever somebody, we interact with somebody, or we do some work, in all cases we think about how others are thinking. We develop a theory of others mind and accordingly behave. A driver has to know, for example, that how other drivers, so for example, you driving in Bangalore versus driving in Bombay versus driving in New York may be very different. Maybe rules are same, but when the light comes, when it's turning to orange and then to red, people speed up in Bangalore. But maybe in some other place it is not the case. They start slowing down. So rules are same. So, so you have to understand how others behave and how others behave towards you. So these are called theory of mind. We human beings do that. So once computer starts doing that, we call it as a next version, next level. So that is the next level future of theory of minds. And finally, what we call self-aware, in the sense that it's not just about having theory of other minds. It has a theory of its own mind, and it will basically think about it is me. So I am thinking like this. I am feeling this. This is basically what we call consciousness. So if we can develop that into the machine, that's when we have reached the all four stages, but we are quite far away. We are not even in the third stage. We are in only first 1 and 2 stages now. Okay, that is 4 types of AI. And then, without mentioning Turing test, we can't talk about AI. So Alan Turing actually was like 70 years back. He talked about intelligent machines, and he said, "How do we test a machine to be intelligent or not?" And he felt that natural language processing is one of the gifts for intelligence. For intelligence, I mean, it's a character of intelligence. So he devised a very simple test. Okay, so you see the beauty of this test. The test is that there will be a person who will basically sit in a separate room and interact with a few machines and a few human beings. He will interact parallelly. He can ask any question, maybe over a chat, and from the other side, machine actually understands. Supposed if it is supposed to be an artificial intelligence machine, it will understand his question and answer. Similarly, human being also will understand his question and answer. Suppose the person who is interrogating, I call interrogator, if he is not able to tell the difference between the machine and the human being, that means the answers that he get are similar, are, they may be different answers, but in some sense he is able to get a feel, am I interacting with a machine or am I interacting with a human being, because we are gifted with that ability. Okay, so if he is able to find out, interrogator, that this is the machine and this is the human being, then we can say that this machine, supposed to be an artificial intelligence machine, has failed the Turing test. If it passes the Turing test, that means that he will not be able to tell the difference between machine and human being, then we can say the machine has passed the Turing test. So this is one of the very important tests that very simple, but really works. So people have been trying to develop machines which can pass Turing test. Until now, no machine has ever done this. Okay? No machine has passed a Turing test. So there is also one more classification called levels of artificial intelligence. So when you talk about artificial intelligence for our own general use, okay, we use what we call artificial narrow intelligence. That means there is a particular task which we want something to do. Like for example, I would have a personal assistant, and that personal assistant is an artificial personal assistant, AI personal assistant, which would schedule my meetings, etc. So I don't want that personal assistant to basically know anything about anything else in my life. Okay, that's just one part. So you get train it and keep training it and make sure that that software will become good at doing that. Okay, that is called a narrow. It may be anything. It may be playing chess, for example, is another intelligence. You can develop an artificial intelligence to learn only the chess and become good at it. Okay, so it's a combination of nice rules and at the same time feedback and learning. So that is called narrow. And the second one is general intelligence. General intelligence is actually about doing things for which it is not programmed to. It knows more things. You have programmed it to do something, but it will also, in the parallelly, while doing this, it will learn something else. So it's like human being does that. Okay, you may ask a child to do something, but it will do everything else other than that. I mean, it's a general intelligence. So the artificial intelligence, general intelligence, is may not be that much useful to us, but it may be useful in certain scenarios where general solutions are required. So we are not yet there. We are just at the beginning of that. But lastly, what we call artificial super intelligence, that is a computer being able to be creative. Okay, it will do things that you will never have programmed. You would not have programmed for that. You can't program for creativity. Computer composing music, computer actually doing art. Okay. So many things that writing, computer writing a nice novel. So these are things that are much far into the future. Okay, so we are basically in the first level and a little bit starting to do the second level. Okay, that is based where we are. So having understood, I think we have got some idea about now what is artificial intelligence. So let us look at what are the opportunities generally in AI. Which sectors? What sectors are using AI? So there are many sectors today. AI is like what we can say. Uh, Lots and lots of opportunities. I mean, the future is being basically kind of completely uh, taken over by AI. That is the worry people have. Okay, and they take AI actually takes over the jobs of the people. These kind of worries are there. So the sectors where AI will be healthcare sector. There is a lot of AI, in the telemedicine and many other areas. And the entertainment area, there is enough AI already. In even in the computer games and things like that. Banking and finance, there is sufficient amount of AI getting into marketing. The marketing is another area where you try to understand human behaviors and accordingly market it. That is again an AI dominated area. And retail and e-commerce. E-commerce is the first place where all these things will generally come. And there is a certain amount of machine learning and AI happening in the manufacturing area. So these are some sectors where AI recruitment is already in progress. People are. So what kind of jobs that people get? What are the designations kind of the jobs that they are going to get? Let's just look at that. So if you see this, there we are talking. I'm actually basically talking about what are the different jobs that involve AI skills. So these are some of the jobs which today are existing. So these jobs are actually from 1 to 10. If you see, one is actually highest level of AI content up to 10. So there are slightly low levels of AI content. That's how it is ranked. So this is uh, basically the data from US, and you can see that the job opportunities also. Okay, and what are the kind of salaries they get? So some small understanding of what salaries they get in US, for example. So these are the salaries each one of these designations get per year. Today, this is the last year data, 2019. So 220, maybe a little more, 5%, 10% more than this. And you can, these are all average salaries. These are average salaries. So if you look at hmm, all India, in India, what is the AI salaries in India? Okay, so this is basically from Indian survey of AI salaries of various designations. So the first top few require you to basically have masters or PhD, and the remaining even on the bachelors also people are getting the jobs on AI. And then what are the companies that hire in India? The last year, the companies that hired are all shown here. So almost name all the companies, they are all there. Okay, they are all hiring. So take a look at this list, and these are the companies which are hiring on AI, and they have these kind of designations. So these are basically the main opportunities in the AI area, and many companies are in the future are going to hire AI engineers that are required. Now the question that I'm going to ask is, I'm going to answer is, how do we start? What do we do? Now, as parents of children who are probably studying in 11th or 12th, and or maybe the children themselves want to know what to do, where to go to study, to get into this area of AI. So first of all, uh, let me say that artificial intelligence has been actually in master's degrees and PhD level from some time now, but it is now getting into the bachelor's degrees. So bachelor degree, not much of you cannot get, for example, BTech in artificial intelligence like that. It's still not there. Okay, it's coming, but it is more of a combination with computer science and electronics and things like that. So that is because there are a lot of fundamentals one needs to understand, one needs to get into before actually doing the uh, AI itself. So what are those fundamentals, basics? If you look at computer science, okay, in computer science you need to study uh, discrete mathematics, Boolean algebra, and then you have to know a very good programming language to be able to program. You need to know data structures. So a lot of these things are actually fundamentals which you study in computer science. Okay, either computer science or electronics or any other branch which is nearer to this. For example, in electronics, you study about uh, the microcontrollers, computers, and embedded systems. And we also talk about sensors. How do we sense the world? And then how do you do digital signal processing? How do you process that? That what you get. So these are all image processing. These are all the parts of the basics that you need to study before getting into. So today what they do is most of the engineering colleges offer electives. So from the 5th semester onwards, you can choose electives. So those electives you can choose if you are wanting to pursue in artificial intelligence. Choose those electives. So what are the kind of electives you are going to choose? Let's say video processing, computer vision, artificial neural networking, natural language processing, deep learning, machine learning, many of these things, big data analysis. Okay. So these are the things that are required as slightly advanced learning when after you have learned the basics. So once you do these things, you can say that I have taken electives, and after the BTech, you can pursue jobs in the AI, or you can get into masters and PhD. For example, graduate courses and research. If you want to go or master's degrees or research, you can do research in machine learning, deep learning, and then what we call um, uh, robotics. Robotics also is a part of it's a separate thing, robotics, but it can be a part of artificial intelligence also. Okay, recommender systems, which to buy, for example. So that itself is a new area, and algorithmic game theory. Many Internet of Things, things actually talking to each other and making decisions. Like your refrigerator, for example, uh, decides that your milk is over or something is come over and orders it from the store, and store delivers it. So these kind of things happen on their own, so without your interference. So these kind of areas, uh, there's a lot of research that can happen. So these are the areas to pursue in graduate courses, masters or PhD. Okay. So now, after knowing that these are the kind of things to do, then where to study? That is the question. In India, especially, I'm talking about India. Where to study, okay, in India? So first priority, of course, is the engineering institutions, which are premier institutions like IITs and NITs. And IIT, for example, Hyderabad is the one which first started off giving artificial intelligence courses at the BTech level. But in MTech level, already 3 IITs are giving masters in artificial intelligence and machine learning areas. And all of the IITs are actually giving PhDs in these areas. So this is the first level. And then there are many other engineering colleges and other universities which are specializing in this. So there was a study done by Analytics uh, Insight, who ranked some of these institutions, which is basically offering AI and how to get into that. There is a list here, and you can actually also Google it and get more information about a few more colleges which offer this. But I am not particularly, I don't have a first-hand understanding of how they do it, but they're supposed to be good at giving AI related information and courses, etc. So with this, I think I have actually talked about future tech series. First part of future tech series, which is artificial intelligence. So you can actually watch this space. I'm going to come with a lot of other areas, future tech areas, and I'll try to explain this, how to build, what is the meaning of that, and how to get into those areas. Have a good day.